Alright.
Ready.
Alright. Okay. Me. Alright. Sit up. Pay attention. Stop being lazy. Every day across America, you hear teachers say this to all their students. And the question is, are they lazy or is there an underlying question or underlying issue? So good afternoon. My name is Adrienne Gibson. I am a second degree seeking student at Columbia College, majoring in special education. And we will be discussing the effects of socioeconomic status on engagement in the classroom. So approximately there are about 30 million kids in poverty across the U.S. And so as being future educators, you will come across a student who is in poverty in your classroom. And the definition, but the question is how will you address that in your classroom? Well, let's first start off, what is the definition of socioeconomic status? And according to the American Psychological Association, SES, social economic status, is a social standing or class of an individual which can be measured by their occupation, their income, and their education. So my question is, how does poverty affect students in the classroom? So we have lack of engagement by students of lower socioeconomic status, and it can be contributed to such things as lack of nutrition or health, vocabulary, and cognition. So with nutrition, health and nutrition, the problem that we see with kids from poverty is that their parents cannot afford for them to have medical care, and they are usually exposed to foods that have lower nutritional values. So we're usually students that you see, usually parents are always taking them to McDonald's, dollar menu, Wendy's. It's, something easy, it's quick. You're not cooking, you're not going to the grocery store, because usually most of those parents are always working. Another thing you see that affects the health and nutrition is listening, learning, and following directions. So we have a lot of students that, because of this issue, and you're not getting the proper nutritions, it is affecting their listening skills, their learning skills, and their concentration in the classroom. So one way that we can combat that, I stated that we could
You're good.
We can have exercise in the classrooms. So basically, you can teach a little quick 5-minute yoga session before kids before they start their activities. And another thing that I've always noticed that I'm quite sure every one of you have seen, when you were younger, you get in trouble and your teacher take away recess. Recess should never be taken away as a punishment. Teachers should always find another way to redirect behavior, because we see that with research, recess gives the kids the ability to blow off that energy and exercise and movement and interact with peers. So another problem that we see is vocabulary. So kids from lower economic status homes have lower vocabulary than kids from middle class. By the age of 4, kids from lower economic status hear about 13 million words less than kids from middle class by the time they're 40 years old. So they hear 13 million words less. And a remediation for that would be engaging activities where the teacher will have a word of the day, where it can help build with vocabulary skills. It will expose the kids to new words and new meanings. Engaging exercises with the other students. So you put a word on the index cards, and kids do like a word exchange in the classroom. They exchange the words, and they have the definition on the back, and it's kind of like a quizzing. So it's not just the teacher giving them the words, it's the students. So they're working together. With cognition, which is also what we see, students most students who have cognition problems have behavior problems. So that's because they are trying to, they're not understanding in the classroom. So they're trying to, not bring attention to it by acting out. Most kids with reading and math, they exhibit poor memory and poor processing skills when they have reading and math assignments because of the lower economic status. And so with that, to combat that, you should teach students study skills, organization skills, and how to remember key ideas when they're studying. And positive feedback is always good in this situation because you're not condoning, you're rewarding the job that they're doing and not the behavior. So it's a lot of reinforcement. So all these issues, I don't want anybody to mistake that all kids from lower at socioeconomic status have these problems, but they are prevalent among that group of students. But the question is, we have to figure out how and what we should do to address that problem when we have these students step into our classroom.